Hey guys, I almost feel like I already caught like all the conversations I was having this week to you guys was basically my last couple years, and now I'm like back to nothing to talk about again. 'Cause I feel like I caught up as far as what's going on. So now it's like, what do I talk about? There's nothing left to talk about. There's not really much to talk about. There's only so many things I could talk about. Like we've talked about. Yeah, we talked about everything. Unless we go into other subjects that I don't know anything about, and I just talk bullshit. But I'm not gonna do that. I'll just drink my coffee and stick to what I know. But there's only so much you can say. How much more inspired do you need to be? What else do I have to do to motivate you guys? I need to get rich. I need to get rich. Getting rich is the next move. I just don't. I'm not sure how I'm gonna get rich. Maybe once I start sharing videos, but I gotta come up with better shit. So I need more content. So I just gotta bust out the content. I need to start bringing my camera everywhere I go, because I'm always doing something sort of exciting. I'm always at events or yeah, I'm like kind of living a certain type of way. Winters, I'm at mushing events. I'm at sled dog races. I'm uh, arm wrestling tournament. There's still arm wrestling during the winter, so I'm at fights. I'm yeah, all types of shit. I'm doing training at out of town or different gyms in the winter. There's always something cool happening. But how do I monitor? The question is, how the fuck do I get paid from that shit? You hope the views. Some people just do that. You got Jesse James, Wes, some YouTuber. He goes around the world and just works out with celebrities. And he's got fucking millions of subscribers. It's funny how not everyone can do that, eh? It's funny how it needs a certain type of person. Like, why is that guy able to do it and none of yous are? No one asked that question. I ask that question. I ask myself that question every fucking day. It's like, why is this guy doing this? Like, why is he so fucking? I'm way better than him too. Like, he's got no specific skill. He's just a gym dude. He's not a. Yeah, he's not. He doesn't have a specific skill that he's selling to people. He just goes around and makes fucking videos of people workout videos. He meets all these celebrity guys. He trains with Ronnie Coleman, Larry Wheels, Liver King. He does in the lives of people like in the life of fucking Andrew Tate. He did one of those. So you have to be a misogynist for a day. Like, and he gets millions of views. in the light. Yeah, he met with Devin Larratt, the guy that I met with, that we trained with. He worked out with him for a day. He went to a tournament. So I'm pretty much the same dude. I just don't have the platform. But that's the thing. The reason he got that platform because he wasn't concerned about anything. He didn't look around and be like, this guy's gonna say something. I don't know why we do that. It's a small town mentality. Because yeah. But these people don't care about stuff like that. I'm not just using him. He's just an example. He's not the only guy. There's plenty of guys that do this. A lot of guys made it from YouTube, but but that's the thing. Like, these people don't think like you guys. You guys have it in your heads that you already can. It's not that it's not in you. It's not a. You guys don't even see it as a possibility. So that's why it never happens, because you don't believe. You believe it. You believe that you were meant for something else, or maybe you were, but maybe you're not either. Maybe you just want to believe that belief. So you. It's like before I got my. It's like before I got my braces. 10 years before that, let's say. It was not in my, like, I seen people with braces, but it was like it never fucking I never believed 1 second that I was that guy, that I was gonna have those. Why? I don't know why. It just wasn't a belief, and because I believed it wasn't happening, it never bothered me. Just like some people's lives right now don't bother them, even if it's shit, because they just don't believe it can be different. And that's why they stay where they are. Even though they can change it if they can change it if they wanted to in a split second. But it's not it sucks that you believe it so hard that you believe it. Believing is the worst thing you can do. Because it stops you from believing in something better. So that's my take. I'm like, I feel like I've been doing this for so long off camera that if I can put it on camera, if I just decide to put it on camera, is it gonna? I'm still doing the same shit. I'm still doing the same thing. So I can go around and do the same thing this guy's doing easily. I have more experience than him. He's like, that's the thing. He's not even 30 years old. These guys are young. They're like 30 years old. And they're doing the same thing. They're not even experts. The fitness guys get away with it easier too, because they don't have to. It's easier, like, because anyone can go to any gym and train with them, with different guys. And you don't have the pressure of performing, because, like, they're just. Well, they don't. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You can do it anyways. You can still. Who cares? They care less than you do. At the end of the day, they care less than you. They're not worried about looking. They're not worried about embarrassment. That's the big one. They were raised with self-esteem. Their parents instilled self-esteem in them, while your parents did the opposite. Your parents were scared, and now you're scared. And it's not even your fault. but it's so ingrained in you now that it's like it's hard to, yeah, not every, it's hard to fucking get that out of your system. Because now you have to change who you are almost. You have to become someone else. And you don't know how to be anyone else but yourself, right? So it's like that's where it's like, oh well, now you have to question your whole life. Have I been doing this wrong my whole life? And until you realize the answer is yes, you're never gonna change. You have to realize and tell yourself, yes, okay, I pissed away 10 years. Let's say you're 30. You pissed away 10 years. 10 years is not too bad. It's when you piss away 30, 40 years that then you're like, shit. Now, not only now you piss that away, but now you're running out of runaway you're running out of runaway. So you don't want to be sitting here at 40 thinking, well, now I pissed away 30 years. This is where we're at. This is my problem with schools too. Schools, they, let's say I'll say from high school. I'll use the high school. Little school, okay. I'm fine with little school. You gotta put them somewhere and teach them something. But a high school, this is where I think they take kids' time. They steal their time, so they can't start anything for themselves. Because if I do have kids after little school, I'm gonna make them work from a. They're gonna be doing something that builds a business when they're like. Let's see, when you get at 15, okay, so I said you get in high school at 16, let's say, right? I don't know, but at 16, now you're still working for them till you're 18. Technically, you're still working for the government till you're 18, and you're not getting paid. Because they don't want you to. They're training you to work for them at that point. So they're not teaching you a business. They're not trying to. They're not. You're not getting paid while you're there. And they're keeping you. They're keeping you poor until you're 18. And then when you leave that place, you're like, now I got to get a job, because I wasted 4 years. I could have built that. I could have built a business in 4 years, when I was 16. But now you wasted 4 years. So now you come out of school. You can always, and then they didn't teach you anything. They didn't think, from that time to this time, you did not learn how to start your own thing, because that's not what they want. They want you to work for the corporations, and they're the corporations. So they're not teaching you anything that's gonna help you. They're teaching you everything that's gonna help them. That's my problem with schools. So let's say I grab a kid, he's 16, and we start a compound somewhere. We set ourselves up for the future. This kid's never gonna see the same struggle as the kid who walks out of school, out of high school, that does not know how to build anything or create anything or have no idea what he wants to do, that has to get a job because now he's got nothing started, and he's got nothing because he's just starting, so now he has to go get a job. And it worked for the guy that taught him that this was the way to go. Because he's going to be using you to work for him instead of you working for yourself. And he wants you to know the least amount. And that's why they want you to know the least amount of stuff as possible about anything. They don't want you to think for yourselves. That's a the school is, that's the reason why the school is government, man. The school is government. These guys, these school people, these guys make a fuckload of money. They make a fuckload of money to train your kids to work for them. That's what they're doing. They're raising little soldiers so they don't have to work. They put the kids to work. I should just think like the government. If you think like the government, you'll be well off. You'll never have to worry, because those are the guys fucking robbing everyone. So yeah, think like the government. Teach your kids to teach your kids to think like them, and they'll never have to struggle. Do you think the government struggles? Do you think anyone who works for the government struggles? No, they're all cozy at their offices. They're not struggling. Everybody else is doing the work for them. They just have to show up at a place for a certain amount of time. They don't have to work. They're not building the fucking schools. They're not building the skyscrapers. The fucking workers are building the skyscrapers. The guys that went to high school are building the skyscrapers. They're building the roads. They're building this. They're building everything. Those are the guys that went to high school. They're not government. They're the slaves. And you guys are at your offices controlling the system. I don't blame you. I would have done the same thing. So government workers set this up like that. This is why they created this system. That's why the system was created. How do we get? They take kids when they're young, easy to scare, and they don't know any better, and they train them unconsciously because the kids don't know. So everything you tell them, they believe. And that's how they manage to get you guys to do everything for them. End the speech. That's that. That's how the system works. They take your children. Fear works, unfortunately. Contrary to love doesn't get the job done. Fear works. Everything is based off fear. They want you scared, so you comply. And fear works better now than it did 40 years ago. Because now everybody is kind of a pussy now. So it works easier. Now you don't have to beat the kids. They're scared anyways. They're more scared. They have less balls. They brought down the testosterone level has dropped apparently probably over the last 40 years like 30%. They're making you guys weaker. Every generation is getting weaker and weaker. And that's how they want you. Because you're easier to control when you're weak. Because when you're defenseless, you can't fight back. You're defenseless. You're useless. You can't fight back. And that's where they want you, to get you by fear. Anyone can come in my yard at any point, and I will not fear them 1 second. Not one. The ounce of fear doesn't show up in me Whether it's the